Almost 6 months after their splashy royal exit, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are working on a grand entry with the king of streaming. NBC News has learned the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to produce scripted and non-scripted shows, films, and even children's programming. Meghan was perhaps hinting at what's to come during an interview last month with the 19th.
In the weeks that were happening after the murder of George Floyd, in the peaceful protests you were seeing, it shifted from sadness to a feeling of absolute inspiration. I think to see the changes that are being made right now is really, it's something that I look forward to being a part of, and being a part of using my voice in a way that I haven't been able to.
In a statement, the couple says in part, our focus will be on creating content that informs but also gives hope. We are pleased to work with the team at Netflix, whose unprecedented reach will help us share impactful content that unlocks action.
Harry and Meghan are a big get. I think everybody wants a slice of the Sussex pie because they garner attention, they garner eyeballs. More than anything, they really appeal to a younger demographic.
A source familiar with the deal says Harry and Meghan have hit the ground running with an animated series that celebrates women already in development, along with a nature docu-series. The genre Meghan dipped her toe in earlier this year, narrating Disney Nature's Elephant.
This is a sight of elephants we rarely see.
This won't be Netflix's first royal rendezvous.
The stadiums were packed. The sport was incredible.
Prince Harry appeared in Rising Phoenix, a documentary about the Paralympic Games, which premiered on the platform last week. Now a chance to get behind the camera after spending so much time in the spotlight.
They see in this opportunity is a global platform, and it's an opportunity for them to really dabble in a number of different style projects that really gets their message across.
And you just saw her, their royal expert, Victoria Arbiter, who we just saw in that spot, and our own honorary royal expert himself, senior international correspondent Keir Simmons. They are both here to join us and break this down for us. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Victoria, let's start with you. I mean, when the couple officially stepped down as senior members of the royal family, that was back in April, a lot of us thought maybe they're just done with this, the limelight completely. So is this a surprise to hear this move for them?
No, it really isn't. Now, contrary to popular opinion, Harry and Meghan never actually demanded a totally private life. What they hoped to achieve was more control over their time, the types of projects they were involved in, the type of people that had access to them. So I think this really is a perfect platform for them. But we have to remember that just because they're utilizing a public platform, it doesn't give us carte blanche to interfere in their private lives. A perfect example is someone like Angelina Jolie, who does her work championing the work of the UN, but she's also a movie star. But that doesn't mean we get to dissect her private life as well. So I think what Harry and Meghan are hoping to achieve here is utilizing this amazing platform that they have, given they're former members of the royal family, but they're asking that we respect their private lives as well, and that seems fair enough.
Absolutely, fair point. It seems like, though, they keep kind of nudging. Do you think, Victoria, that we could see Meghan acting again, or any of her famous friends maybe popping up, or his?
I think people have certainly hoped that Meghan might enter the acting arena again, but in their statement that they released following this news, they've been very clear that this is not an opportunity for Meghan to jump back into scripted television. We may see them certainly pop up in docuseries, which is championing their causes. But I think what we will see is Meghan and Harry don't have any experience producing necessarily. They have been around the television sphere a lot. Meghan obviously acting, Harry in terms of the documentaries he did as a former royal. But I think they're going to utilize a very impressive lineup of friends they have that have a lot of experience. Tyler Perry, the Obamas, Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres. This is a stable of really impressive talent, all with a lot of experience. So I think Harry and Meghan may initially be leaning on them as they try to find their way and navigate this new platform.
Keir, let's bring you in. We've missed you while you were on vacation, so we're going to get our money's worth out of you right now. So Netflix has 193 million subscribers worldwide, an enormous number of titles that sometimes you can't even scroll through. So how are Meghan and Harry going to have their content stand out?
Hey there, yeah, let me just take 10 seconds to get this out of my system. I have missed you guys so much. My goodness. Oh, it feels like a lifetime since we last spoke. So it's a great question. I think one of the attractions of Netflix for Harry and Meghan is that it's global. So they won't just talk to Americans, they won't just talk to Brits, they'll talk to people around the world. They'll have that opportunity, and I think they'll really relish that. So I think there's that attraction. I think there's also quite straightforwardly the attraction of the money. We've always said that they had the potential to make an enormous amount of money, and they are, it looks like, about to make an enormous amount of money. I think that the pressure is there. I don't think we should forget this, because remember that Harry and Meghan, and this is one of the real shames for the British royal family, get enormous amounts of attention. They get huge amounts of clicks, any article about them online. Newspapers sell more newspapers when they talk about Harry and Meghan, and Netflix knows that. But of course, with that attention will come pressure, and the pressure will be on them to produce content that people really like.
Yeah.
And if they can't manage that, even with all their big friends, then that will be tough for them. So I don't think we should just assume that they're kind of just bathing in money and celebrating. I imagine that they are biting their nails a little bit.
That's a really good point. And here's another question, Keir. Do we have any indication of how the Queen may feel about this new venture? Would she approve?
I think the Queen will be fine with it. She loves Harry dearly. And I think she will just want the best for him. People forget that there are lots and lots of relatives of the royal family and members of the royal family even, but certainly distant relatives who go out and do jobs and live perfectly ordinary lives. And that's really what Harry is doing, and of course what Meghan is doing. I suspect other members of the royal family may be a little bit jealous of the money they're going to make.
And they're getting to kind of break free a little bit.
That, you know, even they will be jealous of.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'm jealous too.
And they get to break free. I think that's the one thing they've kind of wanted to do. And now they get to dabble a little bit.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right.
All right. Keir and Victoria, thank you so much. We're excited to see what they come up with.